Good morning, class 6, and welcome back. Okay, now you have 2 more weeks before your
Good morning, ma'am.
starts. Yes, good morning, before your winter holidays start. And you all know that before your winter break, you are going to have your history assessment on the Mauryan Empire and Buddhism and Jainism. So one more time, we are going to combine and do it. So there'll be 2 parts. Next week, Tuesday, that is coming Tuesday, you are going to have the written test where you are going to write down the answers in your copy like you do and send it to me. So it's going to be, the written part is going to be on the full Mauryan Empire chapter. Okay, from coming of Alexander to impacts of Alexander's invasion and then the rise of the Mauryas, full thing will be there for question answer writing. And the Vicon test, that will be on Wednesday, next week Wednesday. So that means date is 14 and 15. 15th, the Vicon test will be there. So it will be objectives where there will be questions from Buddhism, Jainism, as well as from the entire Mauryan Empire chapter. So these 2 tests will be there before we close down for the winter break. And in the last week, I will allow you to share your projects and we can discuss interesting things that you have found out or what you have learned. Also, while you share, I will ask you all today. Also, I'm going to ask you all questions. And last week, today it's a practice class. Last week, while some of you shared, I can randomly ask people questions. I will see how much you have understood the topic. And then after the holidays, we will start with our last history topic, which will include the post-Mauryan, what happened after the main things after the Mauryan Empire, post-Mauryan Empire and the Gupta Empire. Okay, so we will start with the new year, January onwards. Yes, please.
Ma'am, so in January, will we have no topic? In February also no topic?
In January also?
In civics, I think we will have.
Oh, of course, as many chapters as are there that we will cover, that we will do. So this will be your, after this, you have one more chapter in history left, which is your last chapter for class 6 in history. After that, history will, again, you will resume in class 7. Yes, one chapter in history and one chapter in civics is there. So once we finish the history chapter, then we can do the civics part later on. Okay, so
ma'am, will we do the Mughal Empire also?
Not now. Mughals come much later in the timeline. Much later. There's a long time for the Mughals to come. So that will be in the second part of class 7 now. There's a long timeline in between. So let's follow the timeline and go. Next week, come prepared. Another very important thing. 1 minute. One minute. Another very important thing is around 18 to 19 students did not give the geography map reading assessment. I am very disappointed and I was very angry, but this is one last chance that I'm going to give. Tomorrow during the geography class, to those, today I'm going to send those 19 students. Today I'm going to send the full class who are the ones who did not give the test. Tomorrow I will be sharing one map with you all during the class time. Those who did not give the test will solve it during the class time. And within that 40 minutes, your answer must come to me. If it does not come, I will not accept it. Though, there are around 18 to 19 students who did not give the map reading assessment. So this is your last chance. It's a 20 marks. It was a 20 marks assessment and you missed it. So remember, if you miss it, automatically, none of you will get 1 point. If you miss a 20 marks test, your points will never be 1 point, 20, 25 marks if you are missing out like this. So geography, this is very important that you do the map reading work. For the rest of you who have already given the map reading test, once these children send me, I can upload the map in Vicon. You all can do it at home for a practice, and maybe next week we can discuss the answers and see how many of you found out the correct answers. All right. So for the rest of you later on, you need not send me the work. You can just do it at home for practice. And for others,
Excuse me, ma'am.
an open book atlas reading assessment, those who did not give it. Yes, Ujan.
Ma'am, I was telling that when they will do the work, what will we do?
We will continue with agriculture. The ones who
Okay.
I will be having the class. You know, those who for whom I have sent, I will send the paper. They will finish it. They will send it to me, and then they will join. And you will come to class. The rest of you will be in my class, and we will continue with agriculture. Wait, Jemima, you were saying something. I stopped you.
Ma'am, nothing important, but will you be with us in class 7?
Will I be teaching you in class 7? Yes, I usually do. Means we don't know. Right now, I'm a class teacher of class 7. Let's see what happens in class 7 and who stays, what happens, what will be there. So that's we
But
will
ma'am,
new session. Yes,
No, we
will
did not
have
see our
meeting
class
in
in class
class
5.
7.
yes, you never know next year what is going to happen, and hope maybe from class 7 you will come to school and things might change. Yes, Grihit, what do you have to say?
Ma'am, are you talking about a World Atlas reading test?
World Atlas reading test. Yes.
Ma'am, but
yes.
those answers we have discussed.
I have made another one that is for those who have missed. That is what I'm saying. So in around 18 to 19 students missing out a 20 marks test. So this is very disappointing and it should not be repeated in future. So what I want is I'll be giving one chance. So tomorrow those students will solve it during the class time. The rest of you can solve it at home just for practice, and we can discuss the answers later on in next class. So rest of you need not send me the work also. Please don't send me the work. Only those students who missed the test will be doing it. Now today I wanted to do a little bit of practice on the history test, and especially on answer writing and discussion on question answers. Let me share screen something. Oh, okay. First, I wanted to show you. Okay, yes. So this is a vihara. Troy, you were asking me. This is a vihara. Viharas were like chambers. You know, these are structures with small chambers where earlier Buddhist monks used to stay. They had these wooden places. You know, this is like, if you see this structure, this you will find in Ajanta and Ellora caves. I was telling you yesterday about Ajanta Ellora caves. So Ajanta Ellora caves, and when we went there, I have been to Ajanta Ellora, so it's a beautiful place. And there are throughout the walls of Ajanta, there are paintings done with natural colors. There are paintings made with natural colors, and how they have used colors from nature and how the paintings are still preserved. It's amazing. Also, there is one more very interesting thing is that, you know, the followers of Buddhism, they believe that Buddha is not the first birth. Buddha had many earlier births, and all the stories of the earlier births of Buddha are contained in the Jataka tales. So throughout the walls of the Ajanta caves, you will find the Jataka tales painted. The stories, many births, like we believe in Hinduism, we believe which god has many incarnations? 10.
No.
Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu.
Very good. In
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu had 10 incarnations, while in you know, in Buddhism and Jainism, in Buddhism they believe,
please mute.
yes, they believe
Sorry.
that Lord Buddha had lots of reincarnations, and each time he was born as an animal. So there are beautiful stories. It's a book called the Jataka Tales, which had beautiful stories where Lord Buddha was born in different forms, sometimes as an elephant, sometimes as you know, different animals, and all those are there. So you will find that how he taught the world great lessons through his different births that is given. And now I don't have, but then Ajanta Ellora caves are beautiful. Beautiful. I have been to it once. Wait, you give me 1 minute time, I'll show you something. Hold on a minute. If I have it in my phone, I might have, no, then I don't have the album here. Maybe a picture or so max to max. If,
Ma'am, of the Ajanta and Ellora
when
cave.
I went to the Ajanta and Ellora caves, but it's, this I went with, so see, this was a place with the Buddhist thing in the background. If you see, this is a hall.
Wow.
This was a very, very famous hall
Wow.
in a Buddhist.
So big it is.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
This is
So
It is so
beautiful.
beautiful.
It is
Amazing.
very beautiful.
Ma'am.
So they have the beauty. This is Buddha in the middle. So they have the Buddha. Yes. If you see, they have the Buddha. This is all made up of
Oh,
stone.
wow.
Everything is made up of stone, and this
Wow.
all is made in such a way. If you make sound in one of, there are pillars. Okay, so on sides there are pillars. There is a particular pillar. If you make a sound in one pillar, your sound resonates throughout the hall and comes, travels through all the pillars.
Echoes.
What
Yes,
an
I'm equal.
engineering skill! What an engineering skill! Beautiful engineering skills. You will, this is one picture I have on my phone that I have kept it. Other pictures are not there in my phone, but anyway, that is the thing. So it's wonderful. And you will feel, actually, there are people who believe that maybe aliens came and did it. Otherwise, so many years ago, almost 2000 years ago, more than 2000 years ago, now it's 2021. So more than 2000 years ago, how did people just with hammer build such a thing, such viharas, such stupas, such beautiful structures out of stone, not also mud? It is very easy to give mud a shape, but imagine. Okay, now in your
Ma'am,
words,
ma'am, how do you pronounce that Vihara's A on top? There is a dash. I don't know.
we don't. It's a way of writing. Vihara, it's just a way of writing. Okay, now in your plan also, I have shared some practice questions which you all can do at home for just normal practice. First question, you just raise your hand. I will choose who will say, and don't go on saying I. Name two important literary sources for the Mauryan period along with their authors. Literary source of information along with the, okay, Arush, very happy you are raising your hand.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. One is Indica by Megasthenes and other one is Arthrashtra by Chanakya.
Very good. Megasthenes, Indica and Arthashastra by Kautilya or Chanakya, whatever you write, that is correct. Okay, now apart from this, I would like to ask one more question. If I ask you this question, what is the book Arthashastra written on? Or, I can ask you like this, what is the book Arthashastra about? What does it tell us? Or what does the book Arthashastra? Wait, you have answered.
Chanakya Niti. Ma'am, is it Chanakya Niti?
It's there in your study material. Find out what will you write.
Ma'am, may I say?
Ma'am, may I say?
No.
Ma'am, may I say?
No. If you say this way, that may I say, then I will not select you. Riddhiman.
Yes, ma'am. Arthashastra is wrote on. Arthashastra explains the duties of a king and how to run a kingdom efficiently.
Absolutely. Okay. Any other point? Anyone? Let's ask Poojan. Any other point?
No, ma'am, only that was only.
Only that. Absolutely. So let's ask, how will Grihit, how will you answer the same question? What does the book Arthashastra tell us?
Ma'am, the life of Chanakya.
Life of Chanakya, does it really contain all, his stories? Is Arthashastra about his stories?
No, ma'am.
Then
Ma'am, it is
about Can I say?
politics.
I just want to see how you will frame. Riddhiman's answer is absolutely correct. I don't, Riddhiman's answer is not wrong. I just want to see your framing. Let's see. I want to see how others are answering. How about Deepro? Deepro, Dipro, what does the book Arthashastra contain? You can even see an answer. Or what does the book Arthashastra tell us? What will you write? Dipro?
Ma'am, can I tell?
Wait. Dipro, try. Just try. No problem. This is not a test. I am not marking you. I'm going to help you out. Tell. Try, Dipro. Hello. Okay, how about Moinak? Moinak?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, Arthashastra explains the duties of a king and how to run a kingdom efficiently.
Okay. Fine. So I got from both of you the correct
I
answer.
want to tell about what.
Only I would say, since now you all are in class 6,
I have a different information. I also have.
1 minute. Yes, Abhiraj, tell.
Then policies and administration.
Policies and administration. That is fine. And who
Ma'am,
was
I have.
Ananta.
Ma'am,
Ananta.
Arthashastra, the book written by Chanakya, describes the religious, social, and political duties of a king, and also how to run a kingdom efficiently.
Okay, yes. So all the duties of a
Ma'am,
king,
I
you
also
can
have
write
an
it in
answer.
general. Yes. How will I frame the answer? Very nice. When you are writing, since it's in class 6 level and you are going to class 7, now no more class 5 level answers. So always start with a small introduction and write Arthashastra is a book written by Kautilya or Chanakya. Okay, which is an important source of information. You might add, you might not add, depending on time. So always mention the author. Arthashastra is a book written by Chanakya or Kautilya. Artha Shastra basically means, Artha here means money. Ortho in Bengali, what we say. Okay, so it's a book on economics. So it tells us what are the right duties of the king and how a king can manage the kingdom efficiently. So if it is 2 marks, you can divide it into 2 points. What are the 2 points will you write? Will you write a paragraph or simple nicely into 2 points? One, it tells the duties of the king, and secondly,
How to run a kingdom
How to
efficiently.
efficiently.
Yes, ma'am, it has the principles of how to run a kingdom efficiently.
Absolutely.
How to
What
run
are
a
the
kingdom
Principles of how to
duties
run a
towards
kingdom
the
efficiently.
and how to manage a kingdom efficiently. Okay, next question, we'll just deal with the first part. Who was Seleucus Nicator? Who was Seleucus Nicator? Let's hear out Fahima. Fahima, I would like to hear you. Try. You can see an answer. You can, answer in any way. Fahima, try. No problem at all. This is not marking. This is not an assessment. So don't be afraid. I'm here to help you out. Fahima,
Ma'am, which number it is?
who was Seleucus Nicator? Please don't stay quiet. Wait, please don't say this. Okay, Soham Mondol. Soham, tell.
Yes, ma'am. Seleucus Nicator was a Greek general who was ruling the areas of the west of River Indus on behalf of Alexander.
That was conquered by Alexander. He was a general of whom?
Ma'am, I couldn't hear him.
Wait, he was a general of whom? Whose army?
Greek general.
Alexander.
Greek general. He was a general in whose army?
Alexander.
Yes,
Alexander.
He was a Greek general appointed by Alexander.
Wait. Let's hear Avipsha's answer. Avipsha, how will you frame the same answer? Soham, you are correct. You are not wrong.
Ma'am,
I just want to see how you will frame the answer.
Seleucus Nicator was one of the Greek generals taught by Alexander the Great to rule his conquered territories.
Where? Which territories?
Territories covering modern Afghanistan
Territories covering modern Afghanistan. Okay.
and other
Okay.
different parts of North India.
Actually, western side of India. Actually, stick to western
Other
side.
parts of Western India.
Western India. Okay. Snehal, what will be your answer framing?
Ma'am, Seleucus Nicator was a Greek general appointed by Alexander to rule the areas in modern Afghanistan and to the left of the river Indus.
To the left of the river Indus. Okay, fine. So I find this answer. All of you have given the correct answer only. Just, again, just frame it in this way. Don't say that he was a Greek general. Mention he was a general. He was a Greek general in Alexander's army, whom Alexander had appointed or whom he had appointed to manage the territories that was conquered by him on the western side of river Indus. Okay, so you can mention this part. So mention he was a general. You can again divide it into points. Seleucus Nicator was a Greek general in Alexander's army. So he was appointed by Alexander to manage the kingdoms, the Indian territories conquered by him on the western side of river Indus and Afghanistan. Or you can write it this way also. He started ruling these areas after Alexander's death. You can make that point 3. He started ruling these areas after Alexander's death. All right. Now, again from here,
Excuse me,
if okay, let's complete this part. 1 minute. I'm coming. What did he offer Chandragupta Maurya after being defeated by him? What did he hear?
He didn't get defeated. He just gave up.
Definitely, that is a kind of defeat. So, you accept that, yes, I don't think I can win. So I'm coming to a peace treaty with you. So you can call that, in a way, it's a defeat. So what will you say if I ask you, Grihit? Yes.
Ma'am, as Seleucus Nicator couldn't defeat Chandragupta's huge army in peace negotiations, he gave some parts of his kingdom.
In peace negotiations. Or you can just write just to get peace. Yes.
Just to get peace, he gave some parts of his land and his daughter to marry to Chandragupta, and in return Chandragupta gave him 500 war elephants, and they became relatives.
Okay.
one thing
not
you
mention
missed.
that they became relatives. You may not mention that part, but yes, because the question asked, what did he offer Chandragupta? He offered his daughter in marriage. And which part of his kingdom? Snehal.
Ma'am, he offered half part modern Afghanistan. That part.
Okay. He offered
that part to Chandragupta and took the
areas. Which part of? Be more precise. Which part of river in
The west of river Indus. West of river Indus.
West of river Indus.
West of river Indus.
To the west of river Indus. Now, let me ask you another question from here. If I ask you, since we were talking about Alexander, I would like Alina to answer this. Alina, how do you think Alexander's invasion helped in the rise of the Mauryan Empire? Or, how did Alexander's invasion lead to the rise of the Mauryan power? Or rise of the Mauryas? Alina, try. Hello, Alina, I would like to hear you. Hello. Okay, so let's try Priyanshu. Priyanshu, will you like to try? Priyanshu. Okay, Aniran, will you like to try? Just try. Don't be.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please repeat the question?
The question is, how did Alexander's invasion help in the rise of the Mauryan power or in the rise of the Mauryas?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the invasion of the effect of the Alexander's invasion weakened the states of North India and paved the path for the rise of the Mauryans.
Very good, Aniron. Very, very good. So you people will write it this way. Very nice. When Alexander attacked India, it showed that the kingdoms of northern India were weak and not united. So this helped in the rise of the Mauryas. This is an explanation that I am giving you. How did this help in the rise of the Mauryas? Because all the kingdoms were each other's enemies. So when finally Chandragupta was rising to power, this gave Chanakya the boost that there needs to be one kingdom that will unite the nation together and not so many smaller kingdoms. So you can always say it showed the weakness of the northern kingdoms or the northwestern kingdoms and paved the path or showed the path that there was a need for a united empire and paved the path for the rise of the Mauryas. Good.
And what happened to Porus?
Porus ruled for the rest of the time that he was there. Then the kingdom, as it goes, so one power to another power, another power to another power.
And then when Chandragupta conquered that part also, what did he do then?
By the time the Mauryan Empire was there, mostly all other kingdoms came under the Mauryas in the north. And what happened was, like, for the administration, now the empire was divided into provinces into districts. This way it was no more separate kingdoms. Later on, once again, things broke down into separate kingdoms. Earlier it was not like that, like we have now Indian territory and it remains fixed. So earlier it kept on changing with people as dynasties rose and as dynasties fell. Okay, next question here was, when did Ashoka ascend the throne of Magadha? This you can all tell me together.
Ma'am, Ashoka ascended the throne of Magadha in
273 BC.
Okay, fine, correct. Now, next question. What does state any two impacts of the Kalinga War. What were the two impacts of the Kalinga War? Okay, Shejuti.
The death and destruction caused by the Kalinga War filled Ashoka's heart with guilt and sorrow, and it changed his life forever. And he embraced Buddhism and made it his state religion.
Okay, let's hear out Ujan. Same answer. Any two impacts of the Kalinga War?
Yes, ma'am. Spreading Dhamma became his goal in life, and he embraced Buddhism and made it his state religion.
Okay, from there only, Rajoshi, there is a question. What does the word Dhamma mean? And can you tell me any two principles of Ashoka's Dhamma?
Ma'am.
Rajoshi.
Ma'am, dharma is a Sanskrit word which means religious duty.
Very good. And any two principles of Ashoka's Dhamma?
Ma'am, the two principles are generosity towards all and honesty.
Okay. Honesty, generosity, ahimsa or non-violence, you can say. Kindness for all, you can say. Okay, same question.
Respect and obedience to elders and parents.
Yes. Now again, if right, if I change the question a little bit, Shrihan, tell me, why did Ashoka decide to give up Digvijaya and take up Dhamma Vijaya?
Ashoka decided to take up Digvijaya because after the Kalinga,
give up Digvijaya and
give up Digvijaya because after the Kalinga War, the destruction caused the destruction that was caused filled his heart with guilt and sorrow.
Very good. Yes. Okay. Let's hear it out from. Okay. Let's hear it out from Anushka. Anushka, how will you frame this answer? Why did Ashoka change his policy from Digvijaya to Dhamma Vijaya?
He changed it because he changed his ways as well after the Magadha war.
But why? The question here again is why? Why did he need to do it?
Because he felt an enormous guilt after seeing the amount of people who died.
Amount of people. Okay, he felt guilty after seeing the amount of people that died in the war. Okay, let's hear Troy's framing of answer.
Yes, ma'am. The death and destruction caused by the Kalinga war filled King Ashoka's heart with guilt and sorrow, and thus he gave up his policy of Digvijaya and took up the new policy, Dhamma Vijaya.
Yes. Okay. So finally, when you will write it, absolutely you write that when King Ashoka attacked Kalinga, there was huge destruction everywhere and many soldiers were killed. You can frame it this way. And many people died. This death and destruction filled his heart with guilt and sorrow. Hence, he decided to give up his policy of Digvijaya or conquest through war and take up his policy of a new policy of Dhamma Vijaya or
conquest through
religious policies. Yes, Ayushman, tell me.
Ma'am, I was telling that, ma'am, can you just tell me, just means I want to know that when did the Mauryan Empire decline?
The Mauryan Empire declined with the killing of the last Mauryan ruler, that was Brihadrata Maurya, by Pushyamitra Sunga in 185, around 185 BC. Around 185 BC. So how many years ago? How many years ago? How will you find out? 2021 plus 185. What is the answer? 2025. Sorry, 2021 plus 185. What is the answer?
2205.
Ma'am, 2205.
206.
Oh, 6.
2021. We are in 2021. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Next question. Tell me.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Oh,
Ayushman, mute.
Tell.
Ayushman, is it too much?
Tell, Ayushman, tell.
No, yes, ma'am.
Tell.
Ma'am, what will I tell?
You just said, excuse me, ma'am.
No, ma'am, I asked my question.
Okay, you asked your question. So you can always find out how many. So 2000, more than 2200 years ago, the empire ended. Okay, next is, if I ask you, what steps did Ashoka take to spread Dhamma? Who is going to answer this? Jemima. Jemima, will you like to try? Any 2 steps?
Ma'am, can I please?
Wait. Jemima, can you try anything? Any 2 steps?
Ma'am, may I say I'm trying?
Wait.
Please.
Any 2 steps? Okay, Dev Mallo, will you like to try? Dev Mallo, will you like to try anything you say? I will help you out. Okay, since there is very less time, it can be Abhigyan.
Yes, ma'am. To spread Dhamma, Ashoka issued edicts or royal orders to spread the messages of Dhamma. He appointed Dharma Mahamantras as special officers to interpret the royal orders.
Absolutely. I can even twist the question a little bit and ask, who were Dhamma Mahamantras and what was their work? So you can always answer it that who were Dhamma Mahamantras. From here only, you will just change your answer framing. The answer remains the same. This can also be a question.
Ma'am, he also sent his daughter Sanghamitra and
He himself wrote the messages of
And his
Dhamma.
son